Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is your man Edgar Cervantes live from the spot, bringing you another, type of content. This one's actually pretty much different. So I am going to talk to you guys the movies that I watched at least thus far in the year of 2023, from January to all the way June, since we already are in July. And by the way, first and foremost, I hope you guys are having a great or had a great 4th of July weekend. I've been having this idea for quite some time now, and I also made a list. Oh yeah, so there you go. This is the list that I've had for quite some time. So the films that I am excluding off the list, just because of its 2022 releases, it will be The Menu, Glass Onion, Knives Out Mystery, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which is one of my favorite animated films that came out from last year. But overall, those are the three films that I did see from this year, but I'm taking it off. But I had a great time watching at least two of them, and then one of them was pretty much a disappointing sequel, which was The Glass Onion. Not disappointed to say the least, but it wasn't memorable enough, even though the performances in that movie were pretty much top notch, at least for the most part, but it is debatable too. But now said with that, let's start with the number one film on my list, which is Megan, that was released back on January of this year. The premise was silly enough. It was just this killing or this robot, that was a sellable toy at the time, and then all of a sudden it turns into a killer robot, like pretty much a Barbie doll coming to life, but they build it as a robot. Like that shit is insane. The horror parts in the film were pretty much treated as a comedy, so it's more of a comedy film, not to say. So, and it really made its budget. So can't wait for the sequel, even though right now Megan is pretty much forgotten. But I remember at the time when the trailers were up and people were talking about it, I remember sitting with the audience too, and they were having a splendid time in the theater. So definitely a watch, especially around your friends, because it is a silly film. It doesn't take it too seriously anyway. But Megan is the MVP of the film. Next film that I saw was actually AntMan and the Wasp: Quantumania. I saw it 2 times actually. It was not a bad film. I actually still prefer this film over the second one for sure, Ant-Man and the Wasp, just because Ant-Man and the Wasp was okay. It was not forgettable because of the performances of Jonathan Majors. I think he really carries the film so much throughout. For Phase 5, it begins okay. It sets the tone of what's to come for the later films ahead in the MCU. I thought the director Peyton Reed absolutely did his thing with this film. Especially I know that this is his take on Star Wars. You can really tell. I thought Catherine Newton was a very okay introduction with Cassie Lang. Michelle Pfeiffer was absolutely one of the best core characters in the film. She really carried out. And Paul Rudd did his thing. Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd. Evangeline Lilly, she was barely in the film too. But not so with that. Yes, it is not the best Marvel film. I prefer this Marvel film that I will mention pretty soon now. But definitely Ant-Man and the Wasp, not a bad film, but very not a great one either. It's pretty much in the meh. So alright, next film on the list will be Creed 3. Creed 3 was actually not a horrible film. Creed 3 was released on, I believe, on March 3rd of 2023. It started Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors once again, Tessa Thompson coming back. This film was actually cool, and also directed by Michael B. Jordan, his first directorial film. Not bad. It had a lot of the cliches, but the cliches were actually pretty cool. It wasn't too, it was predictable, but it wasn't like a cheesy type of boxing film. You could tell that Michael B. Jordan really had passion for his character of Creed, but also he wanted to dedicate each of his characters to have their moments too. Creed 2, between Creed 2 and Creed 3, at the time I did say Creed 3 takes it over Creed 2, but I do wish that Sylvester Stallone was in Creed 3, because I think it would have gave Michael B. Jordan's character Adonis Creed, I think it would have given him more a characterization in this film. I wouldn't say Adonis was weak in the film. So yeah, Creed 3 it was cool. So next film on the list will be Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Oh man, DC. Let me tell you guys this. March 17th of this year, I remember coming into this film like, low expectations, which I usually pretty much do. I don't always go in there with high expectations, but I was coming in like, Shazam 1 was actually pretty dope. But anyway, Shazam: Fury of the Gods, it was dope. It was actually dope. I didn't really mind it. Would I say it's better than the first one? Not really. I think the first one is still, to me, the most fun. But I think the second one was actually pretty cool in terms of the relationships with Shazam and with the other kids. Zachary Levi, again, he is Shazam. He is having fun with this character. David Sandberg, who directed the film, he brought in more comedy into this film than horror, because I remember in the first one they had some horror elements, but in this one they kind of like softened it up. But it was okay. It was pretty cool. It was still really violent for a kids film, even though it really isn't. It's a PG-13 film anyway. But Fury of the Gods was cool, and I wouldn't mind seeing that again. It's definitely a good time, especially that first one. So let's get to the next film, and that will be John Wick Chapter 4, which, by the way, I saw that film 4 fucking times. Holy crap. I actually cannot believe that. First of all, let me just say this. Right now, until this very time, or until this day, until Mission Impossible, which is coming in like 2 weeks from now, this takes as mantle as the best action film of 2023, hands down. I mean, goddamn, like John Wick Chapter 4 does a great job of like everything, like in terms of cinematography, choreography, in action scenes, even like performances were really cool. Like, and it's kind of funny how Keanu Reeves, like, he does a great job in his action scenes. Like, definitely, like, you could tell that he really put everything on each scene. But it's also kind of funny how he barely has any dialogue, but you're there for the character moments, and that's what really pays it off. But I still say like John Wick 1 is the best one out of all of them, because that's the one that started it all, and it had a simple story, like just going on for a revenge tour pretty much. Definitely John Wick Chapter 4, hands down, one of the best action movies of this year. And at the time, if the Oscars had like the best stunts in the category or best action scenes, definitely this for the time being. But we'll see how Mission Impossible, if it would overreign that, or other action films that's coming along. Expendables 4. Alright, next film, guys, and that will be Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not a Dungeons and Dragons guy, but this film introduced me the most fun, adventurous fantasy films that I've had in such a long time, probably since Lord of the Rings per se, or maybe even Harry Potter. I mean, I count Harry Potter as a fantasy / magic film, or fantasy adventure film, however you guys want to categorize that. But definitely Dungeons and Dragons, that's the one that people really slept on. But it was charming. This film is so fun. It really it's pretty much an action comedy film. Chris Pine was dope. He doesn't play your normal type of guy, right? He was a fun thief. And then Michelle Rodriguez, she did her thing. She had a lot of cool action scenes, but the fact that she plays like a barbarian character type of thing, like, that's awesome. And she had funny lines. It was a vibe, man. And I wouldn't mind seeing this film once again. I wish I could have seen this another second time for sure. I hope it gets a sequel, because it really has that promising thing of like continuing along the storylines and shit. Like it is interesting. Everything, the dragons, the effects, the action scenes were really cool, and everything that was referencing from the games, that was also too. But it wasn't like all over your face. It was just like spot on. Let's move on. Like, that's pretty cool. But all right, next film, I believe it will be the Super Mario Brothers movie. Oh my god, yes. I saw this movie 2 times. The film that took over the box office like crazy, like for a good 2 months span. Great video game film. Actually, I wouldn't say great. It was good. I wouldn't like put it up there, but definitely a great time in the theater. Illumination did its thing. I mean, hey, it doesn't have a story, but it really does please a lot of the Mario fans. They were just waiting for a fun Mario movie. I wouldn't say the best video game of all time. There's still a long way to go, but it is definitely up there in terms of like in the category. Maybe top 5, or maybe it could be top 10 down the line. Oh, there you go. I was just so disturbed. Okay, there you go. It's funny. It has a lot of quick references, but definitely there will be a sequel. There's no denying about that. I mean, it made billions of dollars, so good job on Universal's part. Next film in the list will be let's see here, Air, directed by Ben Affleck, which surprisingly I saw it 3 times. So this film right here is about when Sonny Vaccaro and Nike pursue basketball rookie, you already know, Michael Jordan. And oh my god, this film right here, it was cool, it was great, and it was fun. I definitely think that for a sports film that has a clear angle from beginning, middle, and end, perfect. Everybody has seen what sports films are all about at the end of the day, but for a movie like Air, it did its thing. I mean, Ben Affleck really cared about how Nike pursued Michael Jordan, and the fact that Michael Jordan didn't want to be part of Nike in the first place. He wanted to go with Adidas back then, because Adidas was top notch back in the 80s. The fact that Nike was downhill at that time, and they needed a star and a rookie like Michael Jordan at the time. I mean, hey, we would have had these J's for a reason. And I definitely think Air is a dope time in the theater. It was really cool. You believed in the characters, especially for Matt Damon. He played as Sonny Vaccaro, a great recruiter. So yeah, if you guys didn't watch Air, definitely go watch it. It's really cool, especially even if you're not a sneaker fan or a sneakerhead in general. You pretty much will have a respect of where, in terms of like how a company will go and its mid at the top. It's a really good tale. Good job for Ben Affleck, and he did good. He really did good as Phil Knight. I tell you that. All right, next film on the list will be Evil Dead Rise. Holy shit, everybody! And let me tell you something about Evil Dead Rise. It is it's a pretty good horror film for this year. I'm not really huge into horror for sure, but definitely a watch. It really holds up on its own. You care about the family. It had some comedy elements in the film that really references a lot from the Evil Dead franchise, especially the second one. So definitely a dope film. You know, it was solid. Everybody had a great time in the theater when I saw it too, and I wouldn't mind watching it again. Director Lee Cronin, good job on his part, and I hope that the Evil Dead franchise does better into this, because this was more of a mature Evil Dead film. So next film on the list, Sisu. Oh my god, Sisu, y'all. Very overslept action film. I remember seeing this trailer when people saw John Wick Chapter 4. This is the movie that came out, but nobody thought it was going to be released very soon. Nobody even saw that coming. I didn't even see it coming until like the next week or two when I saw the release date, and I told my cousins and my friend, oh shit, Sisu comes out in April 28th. Nobody knew about that. But holy shit, Sisu, guys, damn, like I really had a great time watching it. Simple action film. It is very foreign, to say the least, but it is really solid. You know, the action scenes is what really makes it worth it, but it is fun. You know, it's not a long movie as well. You know, Jorma Tomila as Tommy Corpy, who played the main character of the film, or who played Sisu pretty much. He was really cool, and I've never seen him before. It's a good time in the theater. You know, even though there was some laughable moments, that ending just definitely a great you know, just little action film. It's really under the radar for sure. So good job, Sisu. Next film on the list, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I saw 2 times, to be honest with you guys. Listen, definitely right now it is the best Marvel movie of this year of 2023, and thus far in the in phase 5, but we still have a long way to go. But definitely this is better than AntMan and the Wasp: Quantumania, respectfully. James Gunn did his part. I believe like the way it carries out as a franchise, or as like the Guardians of the Galaxy film phase, it was cool. When this was released on May 5th, I watched it on my birthday, May 4th, Star Wars Day. Thank you, everyone. Because you know, it's the day before, right? I usually watch the movies the day before. Yeah. But anyway, I had a great time. Very serious of a film for a Guardians film. It was not as comedic as the first 2. Definitely not as too goofy for sure. But this film was mostly about Rocket Raccoon, and as well as Star-Lord per se, if you want to debate that. But it was Rocket's film for sure. Guardians 3, solid, and I will watch it over and over, just like how I did with the previous 2 films, or any other Marvel films, for damn sure. Alright, so next up on the list, I believe it's gonna be Across the Spider-Verse, because I remember I had like a month break. So let's see on the list now. Yep, I am right. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I saw 2 times in the theater. One of the best movies in the summertime for sure. It takes that. Let's see, Mission Impossible overtakes it. But for now, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse really takes it. You know, the directors on this film, 3 directors on this film, by the way, that I forgot to mention on my film review: Joaquin Dos Santos, Kim Powers, Justin K. Thompson. Great. All these guys really understand the character of Spider-Man. They are very consistent, and I believe Beyond the Spider-Verse will continue that consistency of where Miles' journey will end at. So that will be cool to witness that at least. But definitely such a great time in theater. I couldn't I couldn't be more blessed, you know, watching this Spider-Man film. I mean, it's really dope. You know, I forgot to mention this too. That Metro Boomin album, Metro, he did his thing. That's a solid album, and in my opinion. So it's I mean, everything Spider-Man year for sure, dude. I mean, we have another Spider-Man upcoming content, which is the video game Spider-Man 2, and I can't wait for that as well. And you play as Peter Parker and Miles Morales. No shit. Anyway, Across the Spider-Verse. If you guys did not do so, please watch it. Such a dope time. It is a great animated feature. My favorite animated film of the year, hands down. That is for certain. So next up on the list, it's going to be Transformers Rise of the Beast, which I saw 3 times surprisingly. Hey guys, Beast Wars, y'all. Beast Wars, I'm telling y'all. You don't know how hyped I was to see this film, just because of Beast Wars, to be honest with you all. That's the first time, and I remember this when I was a kid, the first time when I witnessed animals transforming into robots. I was like, that is really crazy, yo. Yeah, like I remember. And this was at the time when I didn't know about Transformers until Beast Wars. But hey, Transformers Rise of the Beast, dope as fuck. I had a splendid time. Director Steven Capo Jr. really did a good job. But if you guys didn't see Rise of the Beast, it's a good time. Good action flick, fun action flick, and it has a straight storyline. It's like literally seeing a Saturday morning cartoon, but turned into a big epic film. Pretty much. And keep it up, Transformers. You are doing well. Especially that ending where they did something, if you guys know what I mean. Last but not least, I believe the last film that I saw, The Flash, which came out recently on June of 16. Yeah, it was released June 16 of this year. It gets stinkier and stinkier in terms of box office wise. This is a film, it's the most difficult that I really want to talk about because, and keep up with me on this, it is not a bad film. It actually has great moments in the film. Good moments. Dope moments. But the effects are really laughable. God damn, they're really horrible. But in terms of that, the Flash movie itself could have been better. A lot of people are jumping the gun in the the whole multiverse thing going on, and I can see why, but overall I believe that the Flash story could have had just a little more simple plot, and I believe because the villain of the film, it could have worked better with Reverse Flash, and I hope everyone agrees with that because it needed that. Ezra Miller did his thing. He really carried this film, and I mean, you can't ignore that. He was good. He was really that good in this film, and I mean, hats off to him. Like really. But I mean, even though the shit that he done behind the scenes, I mean, I don't want to get into it obviously, but hey, come on. About the film though, Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, they did their thing as Batman. That's what really highlight the film moments for me. They were so cool. They were so great. I mean, they were the reason why this film really worked too. But also Sasha Calle, I apologize if I mispronounce her name, Bob. But Supergirl, she was dope. And at first, in my first viewing, I wasn't a big fan of hers. But then later in time, it grew on me. And the second time I saw her, I was like, no, she's it. She's cool. And I do want to see her. I wouldn't mind seeing her again in Supergirl because she did her thing. I mean, I thought this different iteration of Supergirl, it was cool, and she did her thing, man. But other than that, those are the films that I saw. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was a little bit too long, but that's how you know. They're out from January to June, It was a great month of span of movies. I went through the good and bad of watching these movies too. I've been through it. Such a film nerd too, in such a way that I love doing this. And I've seen 17 films in total, including those films that I mentioned, the ones that I excluded from the list. But 17 films in total, and that's a lot. But definitely cannot wait to make another video like this. I had so much fun doing it. Let me know on the comments down below which is your favorite film of the year. It could be anything. If you tell me, I will respect that opinion, and you know, that's all and it's all love here in this channel. So enough said with that. I hope you enjoyed this content. Please look forward to more. Thank you all so much, and until next time, Eddy out for now, and thank you all so much. Please don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, woo! Them movies are crazy. I'm telling you, man.